Hello everybody, and a very warm welcome today to this video. We're currently on the ground in Guernsey in the Channel Islands, and as you can see we are in the RJ again. Another video in this aircraft. The last few videos on this channel have been in this aircraft. Now this video today is a flight from Guernsey to London Southend. We have been operating this on behalf of an airline and a charter service, and now we are finished, so it's time to fly back to base, back to London Southend. So the flight today is from Guernsey, obviously to London Southend. We are Enzo 600 Papa is the call sign, and that's obviously a bit of a basic flight really. There's no passengers to board, there's nothing to sort of do regarding catering. It's more of a sort of the conclusion to the charter service, and we're just flying it back empty to London Southend today. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information regarding the route today. We have a flight time of 41 minutes, and we're cruising today at flight level 190, 19,000 feet for the flight to Southend. We're heading out today over France, over the little tip of France, over a place called Dinard, and then over the channel, and then basically halfway over the channel you're instantly joining our arrival into Southend. Now, weather. Here it's patchy sort of showers in the vicinity, so if it starts raining in a minute, that's obviously the reason behind it. The weather, obviously, like I say, I'm halfway through explaining. The weather here in Guernsey is currently big cloud around. We've got a few 1,200 feet, broken 4,500, 16 knots on the wind, so it really isn't nothing too pleasant. As for Southend, we are looking at a 2-3 arrival today, 9 knots on the wind, clouds few, 2,500 feet, temperature 2 degrees. So absolutely freezing at both ends. So let's get in the flight deck, let's start setting up, and let's get this aircraft back to the hangar. So then, a very warm welcome to the flight deck. We are currently connected to ground power. That's the first thing that we are connected to, is obviously the ground power. That's why we have a bit of noise and lights and sort of so on. So we're going to construct the overhead panel, and I'm going to just get the avionics on, get the screens working, and align the IRSs, and we'll go sort of from there. So we'll be able to sort of start setting up the FMC. Like I say, there is no passengers to board today, so it's more very much a case of sort of when you finish setting up you can just sort of get going. If we have any slots, we'll work around that, but obviously for the simple of this video there is going to be sort of the likes of no slots. So Guernsey to Southend is Echo Golf Juliet Bravo, and it is Southend Echo Golf Mike Charlie. Now if you don't know how to fly this aircraft, I have previously touched on the tutorial, so last video on the channel was a tutorial, so if you want to head back over and look at that, so that's something that you are able to do. The call sign is Enzo 600 Papa, and are departing out of Guernsey today. I did just say the weather, didn't I? The weather is 220, so we're looking at a runway 27 departure today. And when we're looking over the flight plan, we are operating off of a Gulda 1 Whiskey departure, which is not operating there. There it is, sorry, there. It's the Gulda 1 Whiskey, or the Golf Uniform Lima Delta 1 Whiskey. We'll select that, and we will then head off to the route page. So, next page, from Gulda. Now, the route, I am using something called PFPX today, and it's Golf 271 is the first airway we're operating from, and then it's Benix to Golf 27. So, Benix to Golf 27. And then from Golf 27 we are operating to a waypoint called Akiki, so A-K-I-K-I. So A-K-I-K-I, Akiki. And from Akiki we will be doing upper mic 189 to Anglo, so upper mic 189 to a waypoint then after called Anglo. From Anglo we are looking at a upper mic 189 again, so direct to Neville, and then it's the Gegme 1 Golf. Arrival in Southend today, obviously like I touched a minute ago on, it's landing on runway 23 at Southend, so ILS 23 today. It's the Gegme 1 Golf with the Charlie 1, or the C123 transition, and that didn't go in correctly, so I'll just go and correct that. Gegme 1 Golf and the Gegmu transition, sorry, my apologies, I was incorrect there. The Gegmu transition. So that is all in like so. After Neville we'll just get rid of the discontinuity and just ensure there's no other discons on the routes. Off to the reference page today, our reserves are 1.7 today, cruising at flight level 190 or 19,000 feet, and we're at 6,000. It's the transition here out of Guernsey today. That's it for the performance in it reference, the FMC really. There's not really much else to go through. We'll check the VNAV page, ensure that's all correct. And our cruising today, I want cruise speed 260, that's fine. There's nothing really I'm going to sort of worry about there. We're going to come over to the speeds and we'll start figuring the speeds out here. Quite a short runway here at Guernsey, so we will just do a reduction still, just for the, we are obviously an empty payload, we're going to get out of here quite easily. Outside temperature here is 4 degrees, and we have a V1 today according to my takeoff calculator. Top Cat's 116 V1, which is implying a 167 on the V2. That's all we needed, and we'll operate a 167 V2 speed. That allows us now to come up to the autopilot panel, and we will just put in our V2 speed there, which is 167. Brilliant stuff. So this is going to be the first video where I'm actually going to try and implement some charts that are going to come up. Now I'm going to obviously show you what charts I am using and what we're actually operating. So what I'm going to point out first of all is the location of where we are. We're on gate number 3, which is directly in front of the terminal building. That will pop up, and I will explain that to you. And also what else should pop up on the screen, touch wood that everything works, is the ILS charts for runway 27 here at Guernsey. So what I like to do on departure is I like to pre-tune that everything sort of is in the autopilot panel, ILS frequencies and course settings for Guernsey, just in case we do have a technical issue on departure. So what we're going to do is we're going to recycle to the ILS on 109.4, which you will be able to see, 109.4, and that's going to do it on both sides, my side and the first officer's side. Now, for regarding courses, we are coursing 268 today, so they can go on both sides. So, oh no, in fact I'll do 268 on my side and 268 on the first officer's side, just like so. So I'm going to come back down to the FMC, we're going to go to the fixed page, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to Echo Golf Juliet Bravo, and we're going to set up a few fixed rings. Our radial, first of all, is going to be 268, and we're going to put a 5-mile ring at 268, and then what else we're going to look at is the opposite heading for the ILS into 09. Into Guernsey, and that's heading 088. So the reason why the sound keeps going is just I'm looking at the charts on another screen. So 088 is going to be the other fixed ring, and we'll put a 10-mile ring around that. So here we have a straight green line which literally just shows the ILS localizer sort of beam as such. So if we have any problems, we have a 10-mile ring, a 5-mile fixed ring, and the ILS beam, which we can obviously use in this case. Now the reason why I have recycled the course and the ILS frequencies for 27 is because that's obviously the active runway. If it is a serious enough emergency, we'll just change the dials and put on the ILS for 08. So after departure at Guernsey, we're going the 4,000 feet, and it's runway heading 268. It can go in the heading bug just in case we have a LNAV issue, so we'll fly the aircraft on heading bugs. My flight director can come on, the first officer's flight director comes on automatically, and what we're going to do now is back up to the overhead panel and start the APU with the left inner fuel pump. That can now come on also. We're waiting now, so the APU is going to rise. We're going to wait till it comes available, APU power comes available, and we will indeed turn on the APU generator. So there we go, waiting for it now. The green light will illuminate. You can start to hear the APU rise, APU sound, sorry, in the back. APU power is available, so APU can now come on, and we're running off the APU, and the external power can come off. That allows me now to come down to the control panel, and obviously the process will shut the main door as well. To be honest, we're ready to go now, and we'll lose the ground power and the wheel chocks, and ensuring the parking brake is still set, which it is. So that so far for the overhead panel. I personally think we're ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the ground charts. We're going to see our route out today, and then we're going to start taxiing, and I'll start our pushback procedure. Okay then, so we are ready for push and start now. We are going just to head up to the overhead panel. We're going to turn on the required fuel pumps. The ice protection can come on.
Locking gear.
And the beacon lights can also come on. Logo light and wing light, sorry, can remain off. And ensure that hydraulics are off for engine start. APU generator is on. And that is what we really needed, to be honest. We're not following like the checklist and flows as of such for the sake of this video, obviously. It is I am following the checklists and I am following the flows. However, I'm not saying them out loud, I'm just reading them off the side of my sort of iPad here. Release the parking brakes now.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Select number 4, start master on, right click, engine starts, wait for the N2 of 20, and in the process of starting number 4, wait for the N2 of, sorry, about 15 to 20, or wait, between 15 and 20, and we will give it some fuel, and in the process of that I'm going to come down and just reset the radio panel as required for the sake of this video. We are on VATSIM, there is no air traffic control online, which is a bit of a shame, but we'll reset that as required, and we'll ensure that number 4 is a stabilised startup, which it is. Getting pushed back here very nicely. A bit of a long pushback, as you can probably tell by the chart that just a bit of a sort of not a long pushback, but a bit close, bit of a way off the taxiway. Sorry. So we'll start number 3. Give number 3 some fuel. Go to the first officer's side. You'll be able to see the engines starting up there. And obviously now we are waiting for number 3 to stabilise, and then we'll start at number 2. Starting number 2. And we will give number 2 some fuel. Short taxi out today, which is always quite nice. And wait for it to stop. And he'll tell us to set the parking brakes in just a second. Start number 1. Give it some fuel. The pushback should stop in just a second. I'm hoping it will anyway. There we go. Set the parking brakes. And we'll come down now and we will set the trim. Brilliant, that's what was given to us today. Oh, he's got a bit of a long walk. Don't know why he stopped there and we stopped here. He's got a very long walk. Okay, that's fine. That'll give us time to start the after start flows when this is stabilised, which it has done. So that comes to off. The engine starts now. Master comes off. Sorry, and the engine start remains as it is. I'm okay to generator 1 and 2 can come on. The galley generator can come on. It's not obviously operating anything in the galley today. For this flight, anti-ice can come off for now. The ice protection there can remain on. We'll leave the APU on. APU air can come on.
Unlocking gear.
The required packs can also come on. Air conditioning is fine.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass has been removed.
The cabin fan can come on. Hydraulics coming on. That's fine. And we will just check what that is. That's the parking brake set. We'll maintain that as it is, and we'll set flap 18. Out come the flaps.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Out come the flaps perfectly. Auto throttle, that can come on, and wait for him to say that we're okay to release the brakes, and we'll go from there. So at the minute it's an 18 knot crosswind blowing across the airfield, which is not very nice at all, to be honest. But it is what it is, unfortunately. Wait for it, where is he? He's gone. He's already said have a nice trip, hasn't he? I believe he has. Yeah, he's walking back. Sweet. Okay, so release the parking brakes. The taxi lights can now come on, so we're not going to blind anyone, and we can start taxiing. quick brake check. It's working perfectly. Okay then, so get the cabin crew a quick buzz, they should be all ready and set down okay, already. Runway exit lights can come on, landing lights can come on. No requirement for the wing lights, it's obviously daytime, there's no need to have them on. The strobe lights, however, they can come on in just a second when we turn in around onto the holding point. In fact, we'll hold here at Alpha 2. Just for a really quick second, the strobe lights can come on now, and we'll come down here just real quickly and we'll turn on the TCAS system to TAR8, which it has done perfectly, and we'll roll on. So we're clear on the approach. The houses. It's incredible how close that is to the airport. Okay, idle that power to bring it round in, and bring it around onto the centre line, sorry, and we will be ready to depart straight away. So here we go. Let's just hit that brakes, just to slow down a little bit, and we'll go to about 50% and hit toga. Thrust is set. Struggling to get that centre line a little bit there. We are just struggling just a little bit. We are struggling there to get that centre line. Let's rotate. Let's get off the runway. There's a crosswind straight away there. That is really, really bad. But for some reason we struggle to keep that centre line. I don't know why. It's a positive rate of climb. Gear up. Just ensure them rudder pedals are correctly aligned, which they are. And we'll just aim for 15 degrees on the pitch. That's fine. Everything's okay now. Autopilot 1 can come on. We'll go to LNAV and we'll go level change. And we'll operate the climb off of level change for the time being. 245 on the speed. Now the aircraft should start to decrease its rate of climb and increase its speed. That's the plan anyway. We'll just come out of there like so. Go flaps up. And we'll recycle the altitude now to our cruise, which is 190. Deselect the thrust there so it will enable us to continue on level change. You can hear it's derating a little. Just going to ensure that everything in the departure and arrivals is set, which it is done. That's fine. And what we're going to do is going to go direct Golder, just to give the aircraft a bit of a sort of sense of routing and where to go, because it seemed a little bit sort of lost on that departure. That's fine though. We will commence our right hand turn, continuing direct down to Golder, and we're passing about to pass 4,000 feet. So just give the cabin a quick buzz. I'm okay now to turn off the APU, so I'll operate off generator 1 and engine 1. APU can come off. Generator off. APU off. APU air can also come off, and that is fine. That's brilliant. Okay. And we will just ensure what's going on here, to be honest. I'm a little bit confused regarding the thrust that should have been left on. That's my apologies. That's an error on my back. So we're going a little bit fast at the minute. That's okay. That speed will correct itself. Going direct Golder. Give us a bit of information now regarding our ETA into Southend. 11:32 Zulu. So landing on 3.7 tons of fuel as well, which is brilliant. The top of climb is in 37 miles, which is also perfect as well. So what we're going to do is we'll now go back to the fixed page, and we're going to delete that and go Echo Golf Mike Charlie, and we're going to set up the same thing at Southend. So I know the runways at Southend are 052 or the 050, 050, and we'll have 5 knots, 5 knots, my apologies, 5 miles and 230, and we'll also go for 10-mile ring there as well. That just yet again gives us a bit of an indication of what's going on in that approach into Southend. And head back to the progress page, and it gives us back yet again that top of climb in 34 miles, which is bang on. Lovely. So we're about to go through the transition altitude, which is 1013. Now there's something I need to point out there is obviously I know for a fact that in the FMC I unfortunately did put in the incorrect transition altitude. The transition altitude is 5,000 here, which I can only apologise about. So what I've done there is back onto VNAV, and there we go. That's going to be us done now until we hit our descent and our approach into London Southend. So I look forward to you joining us very shortly. Okay then, so welcome to flight deck, cruising flight level 190. What we're looking at here is our top of descent is in 11 miles. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply look at where we are going into Southend. It's ILS23, sorry, EGJB-1 Golf. That's already been programmed in. That's all in. That's fine. If we zoom out on the lower display here, you'll be able to get a bit of a further picture of what's actually going on. So you sort of bring yourself around, and if you're familiar with the London City arrivals, it's very similar, just descending a little bit sooner and going in a little bit sooner in a way. I set up the fixed rings, obviously. What we're mainly here back on this video, on this bit of the video, to do is reset the MCP altitude to flight level 60, which we have done like so. We're going to recycle the courses and the ILS frequencies for London Southend. So on the chart, it gives us the information that we're looking at a course of 234. So we'll recycle that 234 on my side and 234 on the first officer's side when it wants to get there. Then we're looking for frequencies of 111.35. So 111.35 on my side. Set 111.35 on the first officer's side. Set. Now we are just approaching our top of descent now. The speed reduction has just begun. So we're going to start bringing that speed back, and then very shortly we will lose the altitude. Brilliant stuff. So that's it. All the ILS frequencies and the courses have been set. The descent altitude has been set. We're just about to hit our top of descent. We have about 20 minutes left to run before we hit Southend. So let's, you will be back in the video for the start of our initial approach and a final approach. Okay then, so you are joining me here at flight level 70, EGJB-1 Golf. We are probably about 10 minutes out now from Southend. They just passed obviously 10,000 feet, but we're at 70 by ATSAP. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bit of a shortcut now and start bringing ourselves in as quickly as possibly can, because the one thing about the Southend, and it shares this effect with London City I believe as well, is that it's got one of them approaches that you have to be really low by due to altitude restrictions and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and cut off as much time as we possibly can before we do commence our approach into South, or final approach into Southend. So what we're going to just go over quickly is ensure that we've got everything set. 111.35 ILS frequencies, my side and the FO side. We've got 234 on the course my side, 234 course his side, and establishing at 2,000 feet today. Now, regarding the minimums into Southend, we are looking at today, I will just check the charts and ensure we've got everything correctly as required. We're looking at 214 feet, or 204 feet, sorry. So what we're going to do is we'll stick it at 200 feet, and we'll maintain it on there as so, which is perfect. And what we're going to do is we will now commence a further descent down to flight level altitude 5,000 feet, sorry, and then we'll reset local QNH on passing 6,000. And then there, I believe we have Lid Airport just to the head of us there. That's Lead, I believe, just on the coast of the of Kent, and then obviously across the water for our final approach into Southend. In fact, we'll go vertical speed for this final bit of the approach. So it's 1,000 feet at the minute. We'll maintain on 250 knots, and we're waiting just for a bit of visuals regarding where we're actually going to head. So if we continue all the way around now to 345, that's actually going to take us directly onto where we need to establish, and then from there we can put a heading in to establish on the localizer at Southend. Decrease the vertical speed. In a minute we'll also consider start bringing that speed back and knocking that back as best we possibly can. So as discussed, the Southend approach, you are either too low or too high. I mean, when you listen to the real life air traffic control, they either get them in too high, like, not to say it's too high is a bit incorrect, they either get them in where they're sort of descending really quickly for the last like 30 seconds or a minute. Ignore that, it's 1,000 feet to go. Or you're looking at getting really low like we are and being bang on. So just to recap, we will be establishing, or the establishing height is 2,000 feet, so we will bear that in mind for our arrival. Just coming over the water now, waiting for the other side of the water to become visible. And then we should be all good in the hood, maintaining 250 knots for the time being as well. I know it's quite fast, but it is what it is. We need to keep that up as quickly as possible, just to try and knock back that time to get into Southend. No traffic around us. TCAS is indicating that it's clear. Lights are on. Cabin can have a quick ding there, and that's all okay. Start the APU now, and what we'll do is we'll ensure we're running off APU when we're on the ground straight away. So I'm starting the APU now. This is something that isn't really done, I don't think, but it's something that I'm just going to do to try and kill a little bit of time. We'll start the APU now in the sky. And also, I believe the APU gives the engines a little bit more power, so we'll bear that in mind as well. And the APU power is available, generator on, and we'll run off APU. Brilliant stuff, okay. Down to 4,000 feet. Start knocking that speed back. 1,000 to go. Speed is just getting a little bit much there, so we use a bit of the speed brake to our advantage to try and bring back that speed as quickly as possible. ,3,000 feet now on the altitude as well. Speed back to 200 knots. Leave the speed brake out for now. Speed brake can go back in, that's fine. And in a minute you'll get also that 1,000 feet to go alarm again. Thousands to go. Okay then, so we are nearly there, so what we're also looking for now is down to 2,000 feet, and we are going to be looking at that vertical speed again, ensuring we're 2,000 to establish, but at the minute we're doing absolutely perfect. I'm happy in a minute to get some flaps out. Okay. So there is the coastline coming into view. Okay, flap 18, speed check. That's coming out. Okay, reset local QNH, which in the area is in fact 1013. 1014, sorry, 1014. Okay, so what we're going to do, maintain this heading. In just a second we'll bring it around a little bit further left, and on that heading I'll be happy to establish localizer, or try and get that localizer as best as we possibly can. So we'll bring it back down to 180 knots. So perfect stuff. Now we've got a 10-mile ring there just coming up. So what we're going to do, recycle that heading to 290. In fact no, we'll maintain it 310 for now. We are a little bit low still, but that's nothing that's worrying us too much. I'm happy to be at this altitude at the moment. Okay, 295 on the heading, hit VOR lock. Now we're about to level off at 2,000 feet as well. I'm happy to go flap 24 in just a second. Oh, my apologies, didn't need that. So let's level off now, 2,000 feet, looking to bring it on in. We'll maintain this heading to hit the localizer. Might need a bit of a further, sort of just a bit further left-hand turn in just a second. Then when we get that localizer, I'm going to now just bring it in left a little bit more, 280. Just to hopefully give it that further bit of an assist that it does need. And then when we hit that localizer, I will bring the speed back and we'll go flap 24. They're just waiting for it now. You should get it any second now. There is the localizer, speed back now, 170 knots, or 160 knots, sorry, flap 24. Hit the approach. Completely on VOR now, which is lovely stuff. And then in a second when we hit that glide path, which won't be till about 5 miles, we should be all good. We're going to get that airport just coming into sight now, so everything on the overhead panel is set and as required. We will have the wing lights on for landing, that's fine, and we will consider now final approach speed in according to the FMC's 109 knots. The wind at Southend currently is at 9 knots, so we're going to add about 5-6 knots on that. So we're going to go for a final approach speed of about 115 knots as well today. Flap 30 in just a second. We'll get the gear down as well in just a second. As you can start to see, the puppy lights at the minute are red, so to be completely honest, we're fine at the moment, a little bit low, but we're on the final approach. Just waiting for that glide path now, and then the gear can come down. Just waiting for it. Puppy light's still all red. Here we go, should be coming in just a second. Okay, so looking to start to bring that speed back. Flap 30. Speed back to about 140 now. There's the glide path. About 5 miles now, or about 6 miles. In fact, we will have the gear in just a second. Okay, there's the glide path, gear down. Back to the final approach speed, about 116 knots today. And stand by for that fall. And the gear is down, which will be down in just a second. Okay, the gear is down, flap 33. And we will now whack that speed brake out at the back. And the nose will pitch up in just a second when we get that speed. There's the nose coming back on our side. Okay, so the big speed brake, or the air brake is out at the back. Two red, two out on the puppies at the minute, we're fine. Or regarding the wind, it's 12 knots, just a tad across, but we are okay. I'll take control of the throttle and the aircraft now.
1,000.
Trying to bleed off that speed as best we can. That is 19 knots now, just starting to come on the cross. 3 white on the puppies, we are still a little bit higher.
$500.
500 feet. Wondering if we can get off at Charlie.
$300.
300 feet.
Approaching decision height.
Approaching decision heights.
Minimums.
Continue. And out of the power. Looking for a slight flare.
10.
And we're down. Now, I wondered if we could get off at Charlie. Looks like we're going to be able to. Very nice. Brilliant stuff. Very nice landing there. Very impressed with that. Got a little bit of a wind, a bit of a draft on the wind at the end there, but that's nothing to worry about at all, to be honest. Vacate left here on Charlie. And start taxiing to the Jota area. Speed brakes and the speed fan at the back, or the air fan, brake at the back can come in, sorry. APU is already on. Strobes come off. The flaps up. Flight director, my side of the flight directors can also come off. Turn the taxi lights off now. As what we are able to do now is we're just going to turn into the hangar and park up just in front of this hangar here. It's no longer ATC Lasham's hangar, it's now Stobart's and Jota's. Ignore the grass as well, I don't actually know why there isn't any grass there. And we will stop just there. Very nice. Okay, so there we have it. We'll set the parking brake now. Shut down the engines. Ensure that everything on the overhead panel is fine. Ice protection can come off. We're running off the APU generator, which is fine. Fuel pumps can come off that are required. Overhead panel to the hydraulics, they can also come off. The avionics are remaining on for the time being because the engineers are going to get on, they're going to sort out the aircraft. Beacon lights can come off in just a second, we'll turn off the packs. The beacon light can now come off. And wing lights can come off, that is perfect toss. Okay, that's fine, I'm happy now to go on to external power, so we'll go to the control panel, connect the wheel chocks and the ground power, and we'll connect the ground power through there, and the APU generator can now come off like so, and the APU can now come off as well, and the fuel pump and then come off as well. Brilliant stuff. So there we go, now on the ground power, and there we have it. We have arrived very, very well, very safely, in fact, into London Southend. So there we go. I'll turn that, silence that warning. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, it's been an enjoyable video, and it's another video on the channel in this aircraft. I'm probably going to vary it up in the next video. We'll do something a little bit different. But there we have it. I hope you enjoyed that video. It's something, yet again, flying the RJ into Southend. It's a lovely aircraft. I really have got to know this aircraft quite well, and I really am enjoying flying this aircraft a hell of a lot. So if you have any questions or anything regarding anything you'd like to see potentially, anything questions about this aircraft, obviously I haven't got the knowledge to answer it like a professional pilot would, but I've got a very basic fundamental knowledge of the aircraft, which I might be able to help you with. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and yet again, please ensure to like it and subscribe it. And if you enjoyed the Channel Island of Guernsey's departure, which was a little bit askew because there was a bit of a I don't know if it was because of the wind, but there's a reason with the rudder pedal was a bit of an issue there, but I'll look into fixing that. But like I say, I hope you enjoyed the video, and all that's left I say to myself to say is thank you very much, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.